Valamogulis, everybody. I don't know what the hell happened to my damn intro, but this is Don Willie back again with a Friday edition of Ice and Fire Opinions. Sorry I wasn't able to be here on Thursday, but unfortunately, duty calls, and when it calls, sometimes it calls very late into the night. But today, we are here to talk about a truly despicable yet mysterious character, and that is Craster. Look at that face. Face only a mother could love. But oh man. But as always, start by shouting out those people in the chat who are watching me live right now. We got Ion Trone. Thank you for joining. Of course, DJ, my man Ricky Hunt, the Boy Wonder. What's going on? Haven't seen you in a while, man. AU Pack Mule. Very, very good friend to the channel and to watch. Shayna83, thank you for joining me tonight. And I'm pretty sure we will get some more people in here along the way. So, let's get into talking about Craster. Who, man, I'm not sure what to say about this dude, other than he is definitely one of the more despicable characters that we meet. But, he is a complicated character, as always. And shout out to Leslie Powell, who also just joined us. So, he's one of the first wildlings that we meet north of the wall. Because, we do meet Osha south of the wall. She's trying to escape the White Walkers. Craster is the first wildling that we meet north of the wall. And he is the first one that we know of that is actually friendly with the Night's Watch. And, it's crazy to see, because, we're getting this from John's perspective in the books. And so, when they get to Craster's Keep, his internal monologue is going off. It's kind of like, all right, well, this is kind of weird. Wildling, he's in this rundown kind of place, but it's huge. Like, why in the world does he need all this damn space, for his family and all that? And then, they actually get inside and it's like, got a lot of women around here. Why are there no guys? It's kind of crazy. How does he have all those women around here? And we started to learn about his whole story about just the fact that, there's these generations of women. And that's the crazy thing, too, is like, there are older women, there are kind of middle-aged women, there are women who are in their 20s, you got teenagers, and you got, a few girls, but not many, like young girls. And it's kind of like, this is odd here. This is very, very odd. And, a little later, he is told the story about how, some of these are his daughters, but all of them are his wives. It's just like, I'm sorry, come again? What do you mean some are his daughters, but all are his wives? It's like, yeah, he marries all of his daughters. I'm sorry, come again? He marries all of his daughters. Okay, wow. So while you guys contemplate on that, a couple more shout outs. Sir LT Giles from the Hype Watch, the ladies' man himself. Kim McKay, all the way from the future, down under New Zealand. And I know I saw someone else in there. G-Math, what up? So, yeah, man. This is it's just crazy to think like I don't know of anyone in particular throughout actual human history that may have done anything like that. I mean, there might have been. If there are, I don't know. All right, I don't want to, you know. I mean, but shit, there probably have been. I mean, George R. R. Martin is someone who pulls a lot of his story beats from historical figures. So there may be someone out there in history who actually did marry or at least sleep with his daughters, as like as some form of keeping bloodlines pure, or I'm not sure. I yeah. So anyway, you know, in the show, the the thing that we get about him, when we see him, he's this he's an older man, obviously, and the interplay that we get to see between them in terms of Craster and when Night's Watch first rolls up, and it's kind of like, wait, hold on here. If he's supposed to be their friend, why is he such an asshole to them? Like, Geo Mormont is like, yeah, we're gonna stop at a friend's place. We'll stay there for a while before we pick up and go out on the rest of our mission. And when the Night's Watch shows up, he's just kind of giving them side eye. He's like, yeah, man, fucking Benjamin Stark. Yo, I hate those fucking Starks, right? Especially that fucking Benjamin, that fucking guy right there. I didn't really like him much. Glad I haven't seen him around. Gior, you come around here, you bring some good wine from the south. You got the good wine. If it wasn't for that, I don't know that I'd really be letting you guys stay around here. I got all these ladies, look, get around here. He's living like a king in his own mind. And it's just kind of crazy to see, and so John and Sam's reaction is probably the best because they're just sitting there like for real, you're friends with this dude. John kind of takes offense to when they are called Southerners. It's like, not Southerners. Now, the funny thing about that, because John making that statement, technically was false, because even if you want to say that him and Gior Mormont weren't Southerners, Pip and Gren were Southerners, Sam was a Southerner, Chet, I believe, was a Southerner. There was a lot of Southerners in that camp. So, he spoke out of turn, and Gior was right there to kind of be like, hey, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth and let the grown men do the talking here. Gior had to lay them bear claws on him real quick. Like, yo, fuck this up, kid. Don't you fuck this up, alright? We need this guy. We'll fucking freeze out here without him. Shout out to Jake Kincaid and also Sean Land, who have entered the building. Salute to you. Yeah, man. So it's one of those things where this guy, when he talks about being right with the gods, and just his whole shtick of, look, I'm here in my protected place. Like I imagine if he was like a 1970s blaxploitation pimp or something like that, I can imagine him, I can imagine him sitting back in his beat up, broken ass, chair, in fucking his beat up fucking house, talking about, listen, man, listen. You got to understand. You see all these lovely ladies right here. They all me. You don't get to have none of them, okay? You weak motherfuckers with all that vows and shit. You know, you guys have to take vows of celibacy. You don't get no poon tag, but guess who gets all of it? Me, Craster. You heard? Like I could see him, like if he was a black exploitation 70s or 60s style pimp, that's what he probably would do when the Night's Watch came. And shout out to Alicia Kingston. I don't know what the hell you been at, Alicia. Come on, what the deal is? Anyway, so oh, don't forget, drop a like on the video. Last video, the Jack and Hogard one I did, only 6 likes. Got 218 views, only 6 likes. What the deal is? I thought you people loved me. I thought we were friends. But you know, he's got some kind of deal with the White Walkers, right? Now, we don't know what this deal is. I mean, other than the fact that he obviously gives up his sons to you know, to the White Walkers. Now, look, it's not expressly stated in the books what happened. All we know is that he's had supposedly 99 sons. Now, it could be exaggeration, but then again, when you got, you know, in the teens or maybe 20s, I mean, because we don't know how many wives that he's had, or daughters that he's had, or whoever that may have died over the years as well, right? So, you know, with the last kid that Jon Snow saw, plus little Sam in the show, and I think he's Monster in the books. Craster supposedly has had 100, or I think it would be 101 sons, or is it 90? Was it number 99 that was being born before? I don't know. Listen, I think it adds up to about 100 or 101 sons. So we know the White Walkers take him. In the show, you know, the Night King turns one of Craster's sons into a White Walker. So kind of the insinuation is that the current crop of White Walkers, at least for the show, with the exception of the Night King, because we saw the Night King's origin, but the current crop of White Walkers are Craster's sons. The thing about it is, though, and you know, with the show, we've only ever seen a maximum of 13 White Walkers at one time. And in the show, how many have we actually seen die? We saw Sam killed one in the show. John has killed 2. Mira killed 1. Let's see here. So yeah, we've seen 4 die that I can recall off the top of my head. 4 White Walkers have actually died. Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, all right, well, so that only leaves 9 left for the show, even though recently they've only ever shown 4 in a group. You know, it's kind of 4 horsemen of the apocalypse kind of thing. Whenever they show up, they're just, you know, sitting there ominously on a cliff, unless the Night King wants to, you know, bring down a dragon. And he's like, oh, javelin time! Hand me my long spear! So I'm wondering like in the books, if this is also true. But the thing that I'm also wondering is, um, what kind of deal did Craster make with the White Walkers? You know, because in we don't get any dialogue from them, book or show. We know that there is a language that they have for the books, and the guy who made up the Dothraki language and also the Valyrian language for the show, he had came up with a White Walker language, but they decided not to go with it. Now, in the books, the way that they speak is said to sound like a frozen lake cracking, which it's one of those things where I'm I'm kind of wondering like what the like I'm trying to imagine like how would you communicate like that if everything sounded like it was ice cracking, you know, or like a frozen lake cracking. But let's not get too off track here. And oh, shout out to Kat. Listen, I'll be answering questions in about little over 10 minutes. So let me just finish off my thoughts on Craster here, and then I will get to questions. So don't forget your questions. You know, 10 minutes. About 10 minutes, I'll be answering them. All right. Now, what we know about Craster, his past, is that he is the son of a ranger from the Night's Watch and a wildling woman. But we have absolutely no idea who these people are, and I don't know that we'll ever find out because in the books and in the show, he gets killed off in a mutiny by the Night's Watch members. In the book, it's Chet and a couple other people. I think Clubfoot Carl. And in the show, it's also Chet, but another guy named Carl Tanner, who they kind of replaced Clubfoot Carl. And so, you know, there are a lot of speculations as to who he could be related to, like whether or not he might have been the son of a Stark, you know, or maybe even the son of someone, you know, possibly related to a Stark, or whether he has Stark blood, because you know he doesn't have a last name that we know of. He's just Craster, right? And so, you know, without knowing who he's related to, you know, or why he's important or how he came up with this whole deal, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, well, how do we properly assess his importance? Because obviously the fact that if the books, or if what happened in the show with the White Walkers taking the boys and turning them into more White Walkers, if that is actually the case in the books, then we have to look at, okay, Craster is somehow very important, you know, because of the fact that you don't have you don't have someone who is able to strike this kind of deal with this force. Because remember, the White Walkers are a force, but they must have some sort of culture. You know, now in the show, we have not explored anything about the White Walkers, and you know, in terms of where they come from, what you know, like all right, it's like you ever watch TV shows, and for the most part, you only get to see, I guess, what you would call the hero perspective. but then every now and then they give you the perspective of the villains to help you kind of empathize with them, or to be able to see things from their perspective, to see like why is it that they're doing certain things. And a lot of TV shows do that to, or have done that to great effect. Um, oh, shout out to Jayon Calrissian, VX in the building. That's what's up. Let me know what the deal is. Hopefully, the Yankees are not going to lose the series against the Cleveland Indians. Totally getting off track here, but how we do sometimes. So with the whole thing with Craster, and especially like the White Walker situation, he refers to them as gods, right? I don't know if he knows that they take his sons and make them into more White Walkers. And then the thing about it too is like, what are they doing when they are not out hunting humans and trying to wipe out humans? Because learning what they do in the background, and also, learning what they do in the background when they're not trying to hunt humans might give us a clue to who Craster actually is in terms of his lineage. Because if we can see some kind of symbol markers, or something that will, give us insight as to the White Walkers and where they come from, it will have to trace back to Craster, because Craster is the person who's currently supplying the army of the actual White Walkers. So with that whole thing now, people have tried to analyze Craster's name, and see whether or not they can find some kind of Stark thing in there. Which, who knows? I mean, it could be true. It seems very likely. We know that the Starks play a very important role in the history, not only of the Night's Watch, but the war against the White Walkers. It's been heavily foreshadowed that the Night's King from the books was Stark, and I'll be honest with you, I think that the Night's King was Bran the Builder. And that's another, that's one day I'll do a Bran the Builder video, and I'll go into depth with that whole thing. But if Craster is somehow Stark related, maybe it is the Stark blood that is important, because a lot of Starks actually have warging abilities, or at least have had some warging abilities over time. So yeah, it's one of those things where I think that it's going to be interesting to see, how he was able to come up with this deal, and also, was he the only one? Was Craster the only person throughout the history of Westeros, or even the entire planet, to make some sort of deal with the White Walkers in order to keep himself safe? And one of the crazier things about this is, one of the crazier things about this is that him doing this, G.R. Mormont knew about that already. G.R. Mormont knew that Craster was giving his sons to the White Walkers. So G.R. Mormont knows that the White Walkers are out there. Now, the thing that I'm wondering is, does he, what did G.R. Mormont know about the White Walkers, other than the whole thing about Craster giving his sons to them? You know, I don't know. Like that's one of those that's one of those kind of real big mysteries when it comes to the story that I don't know if we will ever get an answer to, because for one, with Geo Mormont being dead, we're obviously not getting any answers out of him as to, when did he first find out about this thing and how much did he know. And two, with Craster being dead, Craster's keep is pretty much, it's not abandoned, but his wives still live there. But nobody's really messing with them. It's like, we just don't deal with Craster's keep. But the thing I'm wondering is there going to be some way that we find out how this whole pact with him and the White Walkers got started? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people, especially when they think of Craster, this is the thing, this is the major thing that we want to know. Aside from his parentage, who he came from, yeah, all right, that's cool and all, but it's like, why did the White Walkers decide to make this deal with him as opposed to any other wildlings? And it's funny because he is an anomaly amongst the wildlings. Again, like I stated, at the beginning of this video, he's pretty much the only person that we know of by name that has a friendly working relationship with the wildlings. At least until, John is able to broker the peace and bring them through the wall. But before that, it was Craster, and that was it. It was like, you hear that, oh yeah, there were a couple of people, but he's the only person that by name that we know of that, that actually had good relations with the Night's Watch. And he also was not down with the wildling kind of confederation with Mance Rayder. He was like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm good on my own. I really don't like that dude. And it was one of those things where it was like, oh, all right, well, this is interesting. Like, why is he the one? But now we know, since we know about him with the White Walkers, we know why he is. But it's like, how is he able to play both sides like that, though? Because think about it, right? So he's with the White Walkers, but he's friendly with the Night's Watch. Night's Watch and the White Walkers are bitter enemies who are hunting each other. And yet somehow he is able to stay neutral and literally supply both of them. He's like an arms dealer that goes into like a war-torn country and is supplying weapons or at least some sort of supplies to both sides of the conflict. And somehow, he's able to survive this long with no one trying to kill him. Which, impressive feat. Very, very impressive feat. Not to be understated whatsoever. So, yeah, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts about Craster. But we're gonna take questions now because it is time for questions. So let me let people know in the chat. and make sure that this actually comes up on screen because I don't know, this shit's been acting weird lately. All right, there we go. Cool. So I know a few of you had questions, so let's answer these questions now because I love answering questions. In the meantime, while I'm waiting, I haven't had Dragon's Tears in a while because unfortunately the vape shop where I got Dragon's Tears from has closed. Because that happens in New York on a regular basis. You open a business and next thing you know, business is not so booming. Business gone. Oh. All right. So from Leslie Powell, do you think Craster has Blackwood blood, same as Bloodraven? All right. So here's the thing, right? So you had the Blackwoods who were actually a northern house before they got driven out to the Riverlands. Bloodraven is one of the few characters who is originally from the Riverlands, but kind of deals with the old gods. I mean, especially since he's in that damn tree, right? Now the thing about that whole thing with him is like we'd have to go back and see if there are any other prominent members of that house that have went to the wall. Because we don't really hear much about the Blackwoods. I mean, shit, man, we don't hear much about the Blackwoods now. Other than the fact that they've just been feuding with the Brackens for like the past couple of 100 years. I mean, it is possible, but I don't know what necessarily it would bring to the story to have him be a Blackwood, unless we find out other than that other than Bloodraven, there's somebody who or some sort of special thing about that house, that would make it very appealing for the White Walkers. Something in their lineage that would make it appealing to the White Walker. I mean, again, it could very well be true, but until we find out more about about the Blackwoods, other than Bloodraven, yeah, we it's too hard to tell with that one. But great question. All right, next up from GMAC. Craster's kids are still alive. The baby and Gilly for sure. I mean, well, Craster's kids now, if you're talking about the ones from Craster's Keep, they might still be alive. I mean, they survived with Craster for years. Now, the boys, it's obviously the TV show shows us that when the sons get taken, they get turned into White Walkers. We are not told of this specifically in the books, but I think that's kind of an important detail that you don't put into the show if it's not true. But in the case that it is not true for the books, man, that's a brutal way to die. Being sacrificed to some damn ice demons. I mean, like, yeah. Hopefully they weren't. Well, no, they wouldn't need. The whites wouldn't need to eat, but I guess the White Walkers would. Hopefully the White Walkers didn't fucking eat the kids, man. I mean, if they're not turning them into White Walkers, but if they did, then technically they're still alive. I mean, like if they turned them into White Walkers, not if they did eat them. If they turned them into White Walkers, then technically the kids are still alive. For how long? I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. It's kind of a crazy thing. Alright, so from Drunken Mumble. Do you think the Starks have an ice threshold the way the Targaryens seem to have a fire threshold? I always thought Craster was like a distant Stark cousin. I mean, could very well be. You know, I mean, the Starks. You know, they talk about their features. You know, the whole thing with them having gray eyes. You know, but again, they live in a castle that is heated by a hot spring, even though it's called Winterfell. Um, but we haven't necessarily heard anything about how. Like, I think George would have put something in there already if the Starks had some sort of resistance to cold. You know, I think their biggest thing is that they have a warging gene. I think that's their big defining attribute. You know, so yeah, while it would be cool, you know, Song of Ice and Fire kind of thing, I don't think it's the case only because, you know, this late into the game, I think George would have already at least given us some kind of clue that that the Starks have some resistance to cold. But thank you for your question. Okay, from DJ. Do the others want baby Sam to satisfy some of their vengeance or broken pact? Um, you know what? That is a good question. Um, excuse me. I mean, look, I just think, you know, whatever deal Craster made with them, having all the male children was a part of that deal. Whether or not they're still going to come for him later, totally different story. I mean, it would be crazy if like freaking if that kid just spontaneously turned into a White Walker. Like like that would be the crazy shit. Or if he just happens to be super friendly, like the White Walkers come and he's just like, ah, ah, you know, they go and pick up the kid, holding him, cradling him. Could you imagine the look on Sam and Gilly's face, just like, you mean I killed that dude for no reason? Like that's all I was gonna. You were gonna just pick him up and cradle him and just. Oh, that's kind of fucked. Sorry to kill one of you guys. Big misunderstanding, but he was coming to kill me. Uh, but yeah. Again, we're still trying to figure out how in the world Craster made that pack to begin with. So I think once we find out how Craster made his deal with the White Walkers, we'll be able to extrapolate from there how it was or why it was that they came after Monster or Baby Sam in the show. All right, let's see here. All right, so from Sean Land, how old is Craster? Some of the White Walkers looked old. I mean, well, here's the thing. So the White Walker look for the show is different than the White Walker look in the books. In the show, they decided to give him this kind of zombified look, which is totally different from the books. In the books, the White Walkers basically look like ice versions of Valerians. So I don't know why they decided to go this particular route. I think it's the heightened the fear factor for the show because they want people to know that these things are not necessarily human. They're kind of hunting humans. So it's like, well, how could you be really afraid of them visually looking at them if you're seeing these kind of angelic looking, you know, kind of creatures? So I think that's the reason why they have that look. It's not that, you know, that they're super old. It's just that that's the look they gave them in the show to symbolize like these things are scary. But I do believe Craster is probably in his 50s or 60s, maybe even older. We're still not even, not sure yet. You know what? You know where we'll probably get a backstory about Craster, if anything, like to find out who his father is at minimum. Uh, Tales of Dunk and Egg, because I do believe they go to the wall for a visit because Aemon is up there, and Aemon does talk about how his brother and him used to go and get drunk. So if we do get a story about Craster in his youth and who his father probably was, it'll be in the Tales of Dunk and Egg. So if if that does happen in the books, and this is, a 20-foot tall if, but if that does happen, you heard it here first. I hope. All right, so from Ricky Hunt, why is Baelish allowed to marry Lysa Arryn when she was stripped of all lands and titles by royal decree in the first book? And why is Sweet Robin Lord of the Vale when he is stripped? Well, any decree a king makes can be undone as well. And I think it's just one of those things where it's like, all right, well, because the veil is so well protected, yeah, okay, you can sign a piece of paper saying someone is stripped of their lands and titles, but you got to have someone to enforce that. They didn't have anybody to go enforce the whole thing of stripping Lysa Arryn of her lands and titles and kicking her out of the Eyrie. So, when Littlefinger presents this idea, it's kind of like, oh, I guess it makes sense. Now we got a man on the inside. So that's the whole thing. It was like, okay, yeah, it was a royal decree, but fuck it, it was stupid and impulsive. So cool, yeah, let her get her lands and titles back, and we'll just let Littlefinger marry her. And since Littlefinger is technically on a small council, the Lannisters pretty much control the Vale through Littlefinger, Robin Arryn, etc., etc. Which, very, very good question. Very good question. Okay, let's see here. Another one for Ricky. I think you're talking about Tony because I have no idea who Tanya is. But do you believe Tony's theory about Craster is Bloodraven's son? I haven't heard that one. I actually haven't heard that one. I need to talk to Tony about that one. I haven't heard that Craster being Bloodraven's son. That would be interesting though. Um, hmm. That one, yeah, that one kind of left me speechless. There, I'm like, oh, that's a good question. You know what, I hadn't even considered that. And again, I haven't seen that particular video, so yeah, I have to check into that one. Let's see here. You got any more questions? Come on, that can't be it. Mm, I'm gonna puff on some peanut butter and marshmallow while I wait for you guys to ask me some more questions. Wait, what happened to Cat? Because I know Cat had a question. I was in the in the middle of brainstorming, so I wasn't trying to break concentration at that particular point. You know. Hope she did not feel slighted or anything. Oh shit! Brendan Park is in the building. Alright, so another one for Ricky. Is there really a curse on Harrenhal? Think about yes. Alright, Brendan Parker asks, could Hot Pie be related to Craster? I mean, it's possible, but I mean, I don't know. This ain't a real. This isn't a real question, but fuck it. You know, let's go hypothesizing here. So, Craster's father is unknown, and we have Hot Pie, whose father is unknown. The only thing that we know about Hot Pie is that his mother was a baker, and how he got the name Hot Pie is him basically screaming that over and over again when his mother was selling her wares, right? So, with Craster being a bastard of a member of the Night's Watch, it is also possible that that same man fathered a bastard on a whore from Molestown. Now, we know that whores sometimes go from city to city, you know, when they're looking for more money, as in the case with Roz. And we see her in season 1, you know, when the War of the Five Kings is about to break out, she decides to go to King's Landing. So we know that whores can travel through the different parts of the Seven Kingdoms. Now, it could be possible that a prostitute from Molestown who had a bastard went to King's Landing. That bastard grows up, marries Hot Pie's mom, has Hot Pie, but then dies, and that's why we don't know who Hot Pie's father is. So, it could be that Hot Pie is either the nephew or grandnephew of Craster. Boom. Okay, so from AU Pac-Man, do you think Craster's sacrifices are like that of the original Night's King? Huh. Well, see, here's the thing, right? So Craster was sacrificed. Well, no, the Night King was sacrificing people to the White Walkers. We don't know like exactly how he planned on currying their favor back then, because he declared himself as Night's King. The Night Fort was his castle. The Wall was his kingdom. So we're not even sure what the purposes of him sacrificing to the White Walkers was. Now, with that being said, Craster obviously sacrificed to the White Walkers for their protection. The White Walkers did not protect the Night's King, because you had the wildlings and the Stark and Winterfell at the time who were able to defeat the Night's King and cast him out or kill him or do whatever they have you. So it's I don't know, because we have so little information about the purposes of the sacrifices, it's going to be a little difficult to fully assess what the particulars of why they were making their sacrifices and what they planned on gaining from the sacrifices were. But hopefully, one of these days, George, hey, Gur Martin, I'm looking at you. Get the damn books, we'll get some answers. But thank you very much for your question, Mr. AU Pack Mule. See, this is what I like. I like questions that we get to think about and all that. Okay, so Ricky asks, will we ever see Sithorios? Let me think about this one. No. Ion Throne. Are the White Walkers Inhumans? I don't know. I mean, well, let's see. The Night King is kind of dressed a little like Black Bolt. Um, got the old one that might be Medusa with the hair. I mean, it's possible, you know. George R. R. Martin is a lover of comic books, so he grew up especially on Marvel comics. So, by transitive properties, the White Walkers could be an extension of the Marvel universe, you know, which means that they could possibly be Inhumans. Speaking of which, that show actually isn't as bad as people are, you know, thinking. Yeah. All right, so all right, another one from Ricky Hunt. What theory in the fandom annoys you the most and you wish would go away? Um, what theory annoys me the most and I wish? Um, I don't know that there's a theory that annoys me. There are some that stretch the bounds of tinfoil. Um, you know, like I guess like the three members of the King's Guard still being alive. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think that Arthur Dane is alive, but I don't think he is disguising himself as another person. And I said this before. I think that there are people who know that Arthur Dane is alive and that he is currently infirmed, and that the reason why there is no Sword of the Morning right now for House Dane is because how can you make a new Sword of the Morning if the Sword of the Morning from before never died? So yeah, that's what I'm thinking as far as that one. But as far as ones that I don't know, I can't think of any fan theories that really annoy me that I wish would go away off the top of my head. If there are any, I probably have pushed them so far out of my mind, and that's why I can't think of any right now. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but that's what I got. All right, so from Alicia Kingston, do we know what the Night King was sacrificing? Um, I mean, he was sacrificing people, uh, supposedly sacrificing them to the White Walkers. Now, there is no 100% confirmation on this and I think a lot of people forget now, because we have the Maesters, people forget the Maesters came around the time of the Andals, I believe. If they didn't come like around the time of the Andals and they came with the Andals, but either way, the First Men didn't keep written records. You know, we only know about the runes, you know, which are kind of pictograms. And it's like once you stop learning how to read those, that all gets lost to history. So, I mean, like it's basically speculated that he was sacrificing people to the White Walkers, but we don't 100% know that that's what he was doing. Um, yeah, but hopefully one day, Winds of Winter and Answers, because hope springs eternal, I guess. All right, let's see from Leslie Powell. Why is Craster's relationship with the other wildlings so contentious? Um, Well, you gotta think about it like this. Craster is an asshole. And, so are some of the other wildlings. Now, look, if he has this kind of imperious attitude, as though, like, yeah, look, I was fathered by somebody from the Night's Watch, and I'm banging all of my daughter wives, and I get protection from the White Walkers, and the White Walkers are currently hunting the other wildlings. I mean, I'm pretty sure that would cause a contentious relationship right there. But yeah, look, it's hard for people with those kind of personalities getting along with other people, especially if those people happen to be decent human beings, which Craster is not. So, you know, um, yes, he deserved to die, and I hope he burns in hell because Craster is a bastard, a daughter fucking wildling bastard, and he got what he deserved. So, hopefully other wildlings will not meet the same fate as him. Let's see here. From Drunken Mumble, you think Craster just sent his firstborn outside as a punishment one time, and then he got taken as a gift by the others? Oh, and a gift basket was left in his place. Wow, that would be crazy. Imagine it's like, yeah, go outside, boy. Tired of seeing you here. You don't come back until I tell you so. Then it's like 2 days later, one of his wives asks him, where's Earl? Earl, I sent the boy away. I sent him outside. He hasn't come back yet. No, I haven't seen Earl in the past 2 days. Alright, I'll go find the fucking boy. He goes outside, all fucking snowy and shit. Sees a gift basket, and, with a lock of hair, and a fucking note attached to it, scribbled in fucking White Walker language. He's just like, oh. Goes back. I don't know. Somebody left this fruit with some hair. Fruit is pretty good. Haven't had oranges in a couple of seasons. Just like, but where's Earl? I don't give a fuck where Earl is. I got food. Oh, that would be hilarious though if they left a basket in this place. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So from Maria Lind, are there any humans left north of the wall, or did the White Walkers get everyone? Um. Hmm. You know what? By now, they probably have gotten everyone. You know. I'm still. I really wish we had the full motive for why they are on the hunt for humans right now, though, because you got to figure, right? Okay, so the children of the forest made the White Walkers. The White Walkers used to be humans. I understand the whole thing about them kind of being an out of control virus, but they've been asleep for the past few thousand years, and all of a sudden now they get back up, and it's like, all right, time to get back on mission, and we'd have to say they probably have been around for at minimum the past 20 years, or let's say let's be a little less generous and say 10 years. Minimum of the last 10 years, the White Walkers have been around, and we have absolutely no idea what the hell it is that they want. All we know is that if a human comes in contact with them and they don't have dragon glass, or most likely Valerian steel in the books as well, then they're in for a world of dying and being brought back as an undead zombie. So, yeah, until we find out exactly what it is that they want, we'll never know why it is that they're doing what they're doing. But most likely, anyone still north of the wall, if they aren't dead, they're going to be dead soon. All right, so from Jan Calrissian, where's Blood Raven's dragon egg from the third Duncan egg book? It's probably in that cave with Bran. I bet you they'll probably stumble across it. Like it'll literally be an Easter egg in there. Like, it'll be some jeweled, shimmery thing shaped like a giant egg, but it was stone or some shit like that. That's what we'll probably wind up seeing. Because George does like doing that. Sometimes he'll just put something in there, and it's like, unless really paid attention to it, it'd be like, wait, what was that? Holy shit! Oh, I can see that happening. So a lot of people are going through the theories that they cannot stand, and the big one that a lot of people seem to not like is Ned plus Ashara equals John. I'm also seeing here that people, a couple of people do not like the whole Daenerys possibly being Ashara Dane's daughter as well. We'll see what happens. All right. So from Scott McCloy, this is off topic, but do you think Darkstar will wield Dawn? For some reason, I'm a huge Darkstar fan. There's a lot of people who are not Darkstar fans. I don't think the Darkstar will wield Dawn. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is destiny. I don't think we're gonna have another Sword of the Morning. Darkstar is destined to die, unfortunately. Now here's one thing. There's the theory that Preston Jacobs has about Darkstar, that it wasn't him that actually cut Marcella Baratheon across the face. That it was somebody else. That it was somebody else that was there that tried to kill her. So, we'll see what happens with that one. Let's see here. All right, so another one for Ricky Hunt. Was Naga real, or just a regular dragon? Are there really sea dragons? Probably. I mean, like I find it, because look, like with if you guys read the World of Ice and Fire, they go through like the different wonders of the world, and I think that it's like anything when it comes to history. There are things that are lost to history even in our own world. Like we hear about Atlantis, You know, we hear about what ancient Egypt possibly looked like. We have no idea what they did with the pyramids, like how they built them. You know, you got Aztec and Mayan civilizations. You got the freaking first emperor's palace, I believe, in China, where they discovered like all those different clay soldiers. You know, so there might be different kinds of dinosaurs that we have yet to discover. So I mean, I believe, like, if you're talking about the world of ice and fire, yeah, it's definitely possible that Naga was a real thing and that sea dragons are real. Remember, they don't have the technology to do any super deep sea diving. So if a galley with a bunch of treasure gets lost, it's lost. It's done for. Nobody is going and trying to dive for that. The thing that I would love to know is how come they haven't really progressed technology in the past 8,000 years, though. That's the thing I want to know. Shout out to Way Off Topic Radio, great friends of the channel. Always make sure to check them out on iTunes or wherever you find podcasts. Let's see here. Let's see here. You guys are still talking the RLJ NAJ thing. Oh my god. Okay. So from Cat, and I know I'm probably way behind at this point. I'll try to catch up as much as I possibly can. All right, where did it go? Where did it go? All right. From Cat, how is it that Craster started the whole "I'll give the White Walkers my sons and they won't kill me" deal? We're still trying to figure that out. I don't know that we'll ever get an answer. I would hope so, because that's kind of a big deal. We think of the White Walkers as these very we think of the White Walkers as a force that can't be negotiated with, but someone has negotiated with them. So obviously there is something there. How we will find out, or when we will find out, is a totally different question. Look, for the show, forget about it. That thread is never coming up again. We will never find out for the show. For the books, I think we have to find out. I don't think that's a mystery that you can just. That's not a thread you can just leave dangling, because George, somebody, after he completes these books, if he didn't answer that, he would get plagued with those questions every time he showed his face in public, or on his not a blog, on his Twitter, whatever. You'd have people like, "Hey, how did Craster make the deal with the White Walkers?" He'd have that question until he answered it. So I think that George is going to answer that question, but I do not have the slightest idea of how he came up with that deal. I wish I did, though. Make my brain work a little less hard on something that seems to be trivial, but not it's not trivial. All right. So from Ricky Hunt, how accurate are the visions Arian sees brought on by the Shade? Daenerys' undying visions brought by Shade of the Evening have been pretty accurate. Oh, why am I saying Aaron? Aaron Dampier he's talking about. So the thing about it is, the Shade of the Evening stuff is supposed to kind of be a little symbolic, but the only thing that's not symbolic to me is uh this dude, Euron, with the damn with the Valerian steel suit of armor, and also that Euron will be king at some point. I think that Euron will be king, and that he will have a Valerian steel suit of armor. Jon Snow is going to cut off his head and then wind up wearing that Valerian steel suit of armor, which is part of Jon's dream about him being armored in black ice, fighting the White Walkers on top of the wall with a flaming sword. So, I have to go back through his visions again in the Forsaken, which awesome chapter of the Forsaken is like one of the best chapters in the entire series. And damn it, George, we get the rest of the fucking book. God damn it, man. Let's see here. Oh, shout out to my man Tony from Lord of Last Hearth. Let's see here. All right, so another one for Ricky. Ricky Hunt is just super, on the spot with the questions. So will some of the Lost Valerian Steel Swords show back up in the books? Now, I think some of them are just going to be kind of those lost to history things. Because George has said that some stuff he's going to leave as mysteries, and I'll be honest with you, that is like, of everything, that is probably the one thing that annoys me the most. Forget about people's tinfoil crackpot ideas. Having something very compelling and then saying, I'm not going to tell you what it means. That is the one thing that pisses me off to no end. So I'd rather not think about it. Yeah, I mean, for some stuff it's kind of self-explanatory. Like, you tell people don't go to Valyria because Valyria is fucked up, and then someone takes a damn Lannister Valerian steel sword to Valyria and never return. You know what? Cool. When it comes to the one Lannister kid who got lost in fucking King's Landing, and there's the whole mystery of, is he alive or not? Like, if George was like, "Oh, I'm just not gonna fucking answer that." Like, are you fucking kidding me? This was in the damn story. This isn't some legendary shit that happened, 100 years ago. This is part of the fucking, like, in the goddamn narrative that we're reading. Like, that would piss me off if he did that. And I know that, like, I forget exactly what things that George said he's just not gonna answer, but like, that's one of the things. Like, if it's in the middle of the fucking story, like, I would be totally pissed off if we didn't get an answer for that one. But missing swords, nah, look, they go missing, it happens. Fuck it. Alright, who cares? Alright, so, from Leslie Powell, do you think that a Stark must always be in Winterfell is tied to the pact with the White Walkers? Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It is very possible, because I was speculating on that before. I was gonna do a video on that because, like, sometimes I have these epiphanies, and if I don't write them down, like, within 10 seconds, done. And I didn't have my phone with me, I didn't have a pen and paper, and I had this damn epiphany about why a Stark must always be in Winterfell. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna do a video on that. And I forgot, I just fucking totally blanked and totally forgot that entire shit as to what it was that I came up with. So I'm very angry at myself for not having a utensil nearby to facilitate that creative outgrowth. and I don't know why I'm trying to sound smart because I'm really not. But anyway, let's go back to questions. All right. So, from Way Off Topic Radio, will we see any kind of scene on the God's Eye in season 8? It's possible, but I doubt it, only because the God's Eye has never been mentioned in the show. Now, here's a little funny trick that Dan and Dave seem to do with the show to try to, I guess, appease like super hardcore book fans, is that they'll throw in book stuff when it comes to whatchamacallit, like the history and lore. They'll mention stuff in the history and lore that'll give more context and backstory, but it'll be stuff that'll never show up in a TV show. So I do believe that the God's Eye, the God's Eye and the Pact was mentioned in like one of the histories and lore that I think was narrated by either Bran or Mira or somebody, but not mentioned in the show. So I don't think we're gonna see the God's Eye in the show. I think not that it's too late to do it, but there's been no mention of it as of yet, and it's something that in the books is pretty significant to the kind of like the whole thing with the children of the forest and the first men. And so the fact that they haven't even touched on it in the show at all, I think is symbolic that, just like, it's cool. We gave it to you on the history and lore stuff. You live with that. So, good question though. Very good question. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. So Alicia Kingston wants to know what is holding back progression, and this is related to the whole thing about why has technology not progressed. And she speculates that it is the Maesters. And I'm gonna go on record and say yes, it is the Maesters. Remember, when you have a group of people who control all knowledge, you can not only control what people think, but how they think as well. And ideas and concepts of how things are done or can be done, or the lack thereof, are very powerful things. There are many people in this world who will never know their full potential because the idea or the concept of what can or can't be done, if it is not implanted into their brain at an early age of it is possible for you to do this thing, or it is impossible for you to do this thing, just that alone, or not even forget it, if you're even told it whether or not you can do something. Not knowing that something is possible it can be a great hindrance. And so when you have someone or a group of people who are controlling not only what the masses learn, but how they learn it, you're going to have people who are going to say, okay, well, this is the way you farm. This is the way I was taught about how to farm. And I've been taught you don't deviate from this way, or or your harvest gets ruined. Or this is how you make steel. This is how you make fabric, or whatever. So if you're taught that this is how things are done, then um, not knowing the concept of what it means to innovate can create massive stagnation, especially if you're talking about. I'm trying to think of how like what's the best way to kind of summarize this. Like if no one ever thought that things could be done quicker or more efficient than what is done right now, or what was done at their time, there are a lot of technological advances that we never would have made. And think about it, right? Most of our technological advances in terms of uh, modern technology has only really happened in the past 150 years. Now, we constantly read about at least, at minimum, let's say 4,000 years worth of history, right? In terms of, we'll go back to what we know of civilization and writings, or what we have of history books. When you look at stuff, we hear about Bronze Age, Iron Age, et cetera, and now we're in the computer age. But like the Bronze Age and Iron Age, that was, a couple of thousand years where there wasn't a such thing as a microphone, a camera, a computer, fan, cell phone, electricity, to begin with, cars, you know, for thousands of years. And then, people being taught that there is more. The fact that, people were able to imagine more and not be told that, no, forget about what you're thinking about. This is what it is. It's that shift that allowed us to get to where we are today, where I'm able to talk through, these devices, and instead of me having to be directly in front of you, you can be wherever you are and you can hear and see me. And so the Maesters are the reason why Westeros doesn't have any of that stuff. That was long-winded as fuck, but I think you guys get the gist of it. All right, so next up, Ion Tron. Are you interested in reading wild card books? You know what? Why not? We need more. We need a little more fantasy, in our lives. Why not? Besides, I want to read Sons of the Dragon. I have to read wild cards to do that. So, all right. Let's see here. So, Ricky Hunt, who communicated with the White Walkers? No idea. No idea whatsoever. Absolutely no idea. Oh, what's up to Candy Moore? Hope that said that right. Sorry, I'm getting all you yeah, sorry, I'm trying to scroll through this stuff right now, and I am backed up as all hell. Probably. Where was I? Sorry, I'm trying to get everybody's questions. So give me one sec. Okay, so next up from Scott McCloy. What do you think Ariane and Young Griff are going to do next? Um, so it's funny, like whatchamacallit, Preston Jacobs has been going through the Ariane Martell chapter, and I'm still wondering why he keeps on calling her Ariana, like even though he's aware that that's not how her name is pronounced, so it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard. And every time I hear him, like, Ariana, 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 I'm just like, okay, dude, whatever, But look, I think that Arian Martell was promised by her father to be Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. Uh, you have young Griff, who was supposed to be Aegon Targaryen, who would be the rightful king of the Seven Kingdoms. They signed a pact with Viserys. Viserys ain't there. The Targaryens like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. I want my damn queendom. Make me queen. Alongside this dude. I think she's gonna try to marry Aegon Targaryen. Yeah, I think she's gonna try to marry him. All right, from Ricky Hunt. Was the shepherd that led the storming of the dragon pit and killed the dragons connected to the maesters or faceless men? Is there a connection between the maesters and the faceless men? No, I don't think there's a connection between the maesters and the faceless men necessarily, but I do. I mean, it could be that the shepherd was a faceless man. I mean, because it seems kind of odd, if the the Targaryens seem to have their dragons under control at that point. They were in the dragon pit. They weren't out there, just indiscriminately killing people. So it's like, why would you decide to just kill the dragons? So I mean, obviously we know that the faceless men came from Bravos, and originally even from Valyria. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt that the faceless men led that whole storming of the dragon pit, and also, it's highly speculated now that that Jack and Hagar, who is playing Pate right now, is inside of the Citadel looking for a way to kill dragons. But I don't think that the Maesters and the Faceless Men are working together in order to do that. I think they are both working towards the same goal of getting rid of dragons, but Faceless Men would the Faceless Men wouldn't be working to get rid of magic though, because what they rely on, their whole gig relies on magic. So, but the Maesters might be looking to get rid of magic 100%. So, we'll see what happens with that. Let's see here. All right, another one from Ricky Hunt. Off topic, but what do you think of the Punisher trailer? Punisher trailer was awesome. Unfortunately, due to the events in Vegas, they canceled the Punisher Comic Con panel. Which was the right thing to do. When you have that kind of tragedy, I think the last thing people want to do is go and kind of celebrate a violent character who goes around shooting people with an arsenal, or very huge arsenal of guns. So, you know. But yeah, the Punisher trailer, the original one from before was dope. Let's see here. Uh-oh, why is my computer slowing down on me? Let me make sure my connection's still good. Alright, we're good. Alright, from Leslie Powell, do you think great others sent dreams to Craster? Oh, see, here's the thing. We don't even know that there is actually a great other. And that's the crazy thing. See, George has kind of left it up to us to decide whether or not we believe that gods exist in the story. So, like, what Melisandre, totally believes that there are two gods, um, and the Faceless Man only believes that there is one god. Remember, Craster said the White Walkers are gods. So, it's, if he's if the White Walkers have any green seeing abilities, then maybe that's possible. But again, there's so much about the White Walkers that we don't know, so it's a little hard for me to speculate as to how this connection may have even started. George, God damn it! Sorry, Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with all of this stuff. Yeah, Tony, I would love to see more about the High Towers too, but it's like, the fuck, man. Damn it. Lord Hightower, come out of your fucking castle, you bastard. Okay, so from Ion Throne, did you watch or read Attack on Titan? No. I mean, it's funny. Like, with a lot of anime, I normally don't even know what new anime comes out until I see some like randos on the streets, like dressed up as those characters. So like Attack on Titan, I had no idea what it was, and I remember a couple of years ago I went to Comic Con and just saw like groups of people dressed as like I guess the human characters. The only thing I know about Attack on Titan is you got these fucking giants that are eating humans. Motherfuckers got these walled off cities, and you got dudes with swords and shoot rockets or some shit like that. That's literally all I know about Attack on Titan. And then they made a live action movie, and I guess the live action movie maybe wasn't as good as the anime, which a lot of live action movies are never as good as the anime that they came from. Yo, I would, you know what? What's one that I wish they would redo as far as live action from anime that they could do better if they do the right damn story. Fist of the North Star. I love Fist of the North Star. I might watch that shit tonight after I finish with you guys, man. Love Fist of the North Star. They did a movie back in like '93 or '94. Came on either Cinemax or Showtime. Oh, that shit was so trash. Oh, that was Like talking about adaptations, from either like a book to a movie or whatever. Oh my god, Attack on Titan was just absolute, just fucking. Or not Attack on Titan, Fist of the North Star, Fist of the. Oh my god, oh that was. They shouldn't have done that, man. They really should not have done that. That shit was just fucking atrocious. Ah man, fuck that shit. Ugh, that was just so bad. Fucking hurt my eyes. Yeah, man. All right, we got any more questions? Oh man. So Ion Trump saying crackpot. Attack on Titan is ghost written by George R. R. Martin. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, very interesting indeed. Oh, all right. For Way Off Topic Radio, what was the most memorable line Tyrion said all season 7? Since he said he would have. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember any memorable lines from Tyrion. I mean, not anything worth repeating. I mean, like, oh man, like they come on, man, they like they really fucking like. I understand. Look, I understand that they had to kind of scale back some characters because they were bringing other characters to the forefront, and season 7 was supposed to be about Daenerys, Jon, Cersei. But it was like they made Tyrion a fucking idiot. Varys was of absolutely no use. Um, fucking Littlefinger. Littlefinger, I don't know who the fuck Littlefinger was supposed to be or what he was supposed to be doing. He needed to get, killed just because it's like we have no fucking use for you at this point. Bran was a robot. Arya was a psycho running around talking about she wanted to kill Sansa and wear her face. Yeah, I can't. No, I don't want to talk about season 7 anymore, man. I can't do it. I can't do it, man. Nah, man. All right, so Leslie Powell wants to know what hat is this that I'm rocking? So this, my friend, is an Imperial Death Trooper hat from Star Wars Rogue One. I get a bunch of these new era hats whenever I can. I got, so you see the detail here. So this is supposed to be like the mask. We got the Imperial symbol here, and inside the hat or whatever. And in fact, if you look on the back of the hat here, we got the Imperial sprocket symbol hologram. I got the reverse flash from the TV show. You see like the blue accented lightning. Got the lightning bolt in the back. Got this shield cap from the Avengers movie. Got all the Avengers in here. It's got Nick Fury under the brim. I got a bunch more. There's like a whole line of them sitting on my dresser over there. Oh, shout out to Big E. And I was thinking about yeah, Biggie came in with the Hail Hydra. I hadn't done the Hail Hydra thing for a while because, with some of the recent events that have been happening across America, I was like, look, I do not want anyone, because a lot of people, it's funny, like people who have only like kind of glanced at comic books and haven't really read comic books. A lot of people think that Hydra are Nazis, uh, because of where they did ally themselves with the Hydra actually are not Nazis. And like I used to be like hail Hydra all the time, and a couple of times people were like, "Oh, so you support Nazis?" And I'm just like, so I stopped with the Hell Hydra thing. I even stopped wearing my damn Hydra T-shirt and shit because I was like, yo, I do not want people thinking I'm supporting any fucking Nazis. I'm like, are you serious? Like, why the hell would I be supporting some goddamn Nazis? But neither here nor there. Shout out to Biggie. Man. Hopefully the Yankees are doing well right now. Probably turn that on after I get out of here with you guys. Uh yeah, listen, and hopefully I will be back next Thursday instead of Friday. Actually was going to do this on Wednesday. I hit with last minute overtime on Wednesday. Yesterday I had overtime as well. I didn't get home until like after 10, and by that time I had been up for like a very long time. I've been up for a very, very, very long time. And today, I had already set this up, and even today I got hit with like last minute overtime. Luckily, that didn't last too long, so I was like, all right, cool. I already set this up for today, so I'm like, all right, cool. We'll do this. Yeah. So to all the people who were looking for me yesterday, sorry about that. Like I didn't even get the chance to get on Twitter and tell anybody that I wasn't gonna be able to do it today or whatever. Yeah, it's been a hectic week, you know. Let's see. Can't oh whatever. Candy basketball. Yankees are not in basket. Oh wow. But no, I think see okay, I think we can give Candy a pass because I believe Candy is from France. So we can give Candy a pass on that one. Because first she was like football, and then you like Yankees or basketball. Oh, you're from okay. Sorry, England. I knew it was from. I knew she was from Europe, but wasn't exactly sure where. So my bad about getting the wrong country. But I knew it was Europe. I knew she was from across the pond somewhere. It's funny how they say across the pond when it's you know thousands of miles away. Pretty big pond. And yeah, Big E, I gotta check out Blade Runner too. I gotta check out Blade Runner. I heard it's a really good movie. And right now, Alicia and Candy are getting on me about thinking that Candy was from France. Listen, Candy, you haven't been in the chat in months. You know that, right? It's been months since I've seen you. So, and I don't know if we've ever actually talked about where you're from before. So, my bad about that. But you got to cut me some slack. How long has it been since I seen you? It's been a long time, girl. It's been a long time. And shout out to my man JD. You already know what it is, rogues. We gotta get back on doing this rogue thing sooner or later, man. It's been hectic. Work is so fucking hectic. I swear. I'm sitting here rambling. Yo, this is gonna I'm gonna look at my YouTube analytics, and like maybe about 2 minutes ago is when I'm gonna see like all the big drop off with like people clicking off of the video. But I'm glad to be here with the people right now live. And it was crazy because last week too, I had to kind of bail, like just kind of mid sentence, like, yeah, I gotta go bye. So none of that this week. I shouldn't, like, unfortunately, I had something that happened with neighbors. Neighbors needed my help with something last week. Unfortunately, they had a fire at their house, so trying to help them out where I could, and it was kind of an urgent thing. So help the people where we can, right? All right. So from Ion Throne, what do you think of the Orville so far? Well, let's put it like this. I'm watching the Orville. I'm not watching Star Trek Discovery. But no, I like the Orville. I like the Orville. I think it is a great homage to a little bit of the original series and a little bit of Next Generation as well. And the comedy elements in there I actually do like. Like I've been seeing people say that they don't really like the comedy stuff in there. I actually like the comedy in the Orville. I mean, is it always on point? No, but I do like the fact that it's not just the straight super serious sci-fi. I mean, it's a Seth MacFarlane thing. If it took itself too seriously, I don't think it would work. Especially for the fact that it's Seth MacFarlane. You're expecting jokes in there. So I like it a lot. I think the Orville is doing a great job. CBS, you guys are fucking up badly right now with the whole trying to make people pay on a monthly basis to watch Star Trek. Yeah, it looks nice, but you should have just put it on TV. Should have just put it on TV. And you know what's the worst part about it? Because I was like, all right, I'm not gonna pay for CBS All Access, but I'll pay for like the season on iTunes. They don't even have it on iTunes at all. So I'm like, okay. I watched the first episode when it premiered on CBS a couple of weeks ago, and that is the only episode I've seen. And unless because I don't feel like going through the whole fucking pirating shit. So until and unless they come out with it on some other platform that I have access to, that I don't have to shell out additional money for, or unless they put it on iTunes. Like I said, I'll buy the season off iTunes. But other than that, CBS, you guys are going to be losing out on people who actually do like Star Trek. So right now, it's over Discovery. Shout out to Marilyn Bentley. Just joining us. Yeah. What's crazy about the whole streaming service thing is like every major company is trying to do that shit now, and it's actually starting to get fucking annoying, man. Because now you have companies who are like, oh, okay, we're gonna, like, I understand Netflix came and kind of did something that was unexpected. Netflix is winning right now, but you got to think about it like this, right? A lot of these networks are kind of under conglomerates, like for cable especially. Like you have Viacom that owns like a bunch of different channels. You have, I think it's either Discovery or History that owns like 5 or 6 channels. Um, you have Disney that owns a bunch of different channels, and so it's like now it seems like they're gonna try to nickel and dime everybody into paying for all of these different streaming services to where it's like, all right, well, now you want me to pay. I'm like, it's like, all right, if I have cable, cool. But if I don't have cable, or who knows? I mean, like, because like the CBS, look, you know what the big problem with the CBS All Access thing is that I could understand if it's like, oh, this is the option for people who don't have regular TV and only rely on streaming services. And we're going to give you the opportunity to get CBS All Access. You get to watch, the new Star Trek, plus you get to watch all this other stuff. And you can, set it up to watch like regular TV if you want. And no worrying about having cable if you already decided to cut the cord. But for other people like myself, who like, yeah, okay, I still have cable. Do I watch a lot of TV? No, but there are certain channels that I do watch regularly. That I would be kind of pissed off if it was like, oh, the only way you get to watch, this thing is now you got to pay a separate fee to watch something that you could have just fucking put on TV. You're getting advertising money for it anyway, and yeah, it's just, man, fuck it, man. And you know what's the worst thing about the CBS All Access thing is? You're paying for it and you still gotta watch commercials. Yo, like I had Hulu because there was things that that they didn't have on Netflix that they had on Hulu. I was like, all right, cool. I watch this stuff on Hulu, whatever. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I still gotta watch commercials. Like, it's like fucking $10 a month for Hulu, and then you're telling me I still got fucking commercials? Yeah, I was like, man, Hulu, you gotta get the fuck out of here. Fuck that shit, man. I watch my Netflix. I don't have to worry about no goddamn commercials. If I'm paying you extra, you motherfuckers, don't fucking make me watch commercials. If I'm already fucking paying you extra from what I'm paying on cable, fuck that. It's rent time. Look, man, you guys out there, executives who are all about, and I understand, for people in business, like I've worked in a bunch of different fields. One of the fields that I worked in was investment banking. For those of you who don't know what that is, we're talking about stock market, So I was training to be a stockbroker. And I know that the whole thing is, in most corporate charters, it's literally stated when you make a corporation, that your number one thing is to make the shareholders more money. But I don't think pissing people off is going to make you more money. If they would have had Star Trek on TV, and if they would have had Star Trek on TV and said, okay, let's say, okay, cool. The only way that you can watch the episodes, like let's say, they didn't put it on demand. Like, okay, you can DVR it. We're not putting the episodes on demand. And the only way that you get to see the episodes after DVR is that you have to go to CBS All Access. Okay, maybe I could see that. But once you start talking about, I gotta watch commercials and I'm paying for the shit, no, fuck you. I hope whoever was part of the executive board that came up with this idea of we're gonna fucking hold Star Trek to a paywall, and especially with the way that Star Trek, like this new one, was marketed. The fucking marketing was horrible. The marketing was absolutely 100% just fucking ghastly. And you guys should be lucky that people are even trying to watch this in the first place with the way that it was marketed. And now you're gonna fucking make me pay and watch commercials. Fuck that. Oh my god. Yeah, I just went on rant for no. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the analytics, the dip off is gonna be so hard. People are gonna be looking like this motherfucker talking about everything but Game of Thrones right now. I'm getting the fuck out of this video. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Man. All right. All right. All right. Let's see. I saw Biggie with a question. Um, this was for everyone in chat. What other TV shows in your lifetime that people go to bars and watch on Sunday nights? Uh, it's funny. So like, I used to watch Game of Thrones with a group of people.
Bend the knee.
And I actually stopped doing that. And hold on, somebody. Damn it! I missed who just subscribed. Sorry, I was up here looking at the chat on the thing. I missed who it was that subscribed. I have to go back and watch the damn video myself to find out who it was. Oh man, but whoever you are, thank you for subscribing. Yeah, but like I was saying, I was watching Game of Thrones with a group of people, and yeah, and I stopped doing it because I was doing the Sunday night live streams back when it was literally only the Hypes Watch and Phil the Issues guy. And then this year, um, this year was like fucking Wild West, and everybody started doing it. Uh, I asked these guys for next year if they wouldn't mind moving to Monday. They still want to do it on Sundays, but I want to get back to watching Game of Thrones in the bar, and all that. So I'll probably let LT James and Jerry just do it on Sundays. Me, I'm gonna go watch Game of Thrones in the bar and get fucking drunk, and then have to worry about it the next morning, and when I got to get up to go to work. Um, yeah. So Maryland, no, I wasn't an investment banker. I was studying to be an investment banker. I was doing the training and all that. And oh, have a good night, Candy. Come back next week or something. Try not to, stay away for so long. But yeah, I was training to be an investment banker. I was 19. It really wasn't it wasn't the right time for me to even think about doing that. Honestly speaking, I wasn't in the right frame of mind to try to do that. I mean, I learned a lot about how the stock market works. But yeah, it wasn't the right thing for me to do. It wasn't the right time, And it's funny though because I just started listening to audio book from Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street dude, a new book about some stuff. And I remember watching The Wolf of Wall Street and how that brought back so many memories. Um, Wow. Uh, I just wow. You know what, Candy? Candy, hit me up on Facebook. We got to talk. I need to find out what that means. What that last statement means. I need to find out what it means. So hit me up on Facebook. Anyway, so yeah, the Wolf of Wall Street. It brought back a bunch of memories. For me being in the bullpen. I was working at a small. Well, no, I don't want to say small because I don't know what's considered a small investment firm. Like out here in the states, I know one of the big ones is Merrill Lynch. Uh, in the UK, I know big ones Barclays. Um, uh, yeah, and let's see, what's another one? You got Merrill Lynch, which is top one in the states. Barclays. You got shit. Why am I forgetting the rest of these? See, it's been so damn long. It's been so long. But uh so then you got what you call the over the counter firms as well, like what do you call it? Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab. That's over the counter firm. Have a good night, Leslie. Thank you for coming out. Of course. So yeah, Biggie, I had to make a bunch of cold calls. I'm going into super old school mode right now. So you get a stack of cards, lead cards. These are not lead cards. This is something totally different for the job I'm currently working. So you get a stack of 500 lead cards, and this is going totally off the rails right now. I probably should start like something, just like another freaking random chat or something like that. Just um. So we get a stack of 500 every day, and we had a script, and we had like and I'm guessing because the way that Jordan Belfort talks about his thing in this new book, this script must have, like, I'm thinking the script might have came from him, or at least the format, because you'd have the first part where it was the introduction. It's like you're introducing yourself. My name is blah blah blah, calling from such and such firm. And you're trying to ingratiate yourself with this person on the other side. Let's see. Yeah, you're trying to ingratiate yourself with someone on the other side. So, all right, for example, I call up like, "Hi, my name is Don, calling from Acme Investment Banks. Um, I'd like the chance to talk to you today about a possible investment opportunity." Now, mind you, since I myself was not a licensed broker, I was not allowed to actually pitch the stock. So when you're doing the training, what your job is to just get the person on the other line and say, "Cool, your senior broker, the guy who already has the license, can call me to pitch whatever stocks that he has." And so for the most part, you have, see, like the big boys like Merrill Lynch, the ones who are Fortune 500, like those are the companies that they normally pitch. It's a little different for them. because for them, they're probably, like people are probably calling them like, oh, I'd like to buy, 2,000 shares of Apple. I'd like to buy, 5,000 shares of McDonald's or whatever may have you. For us, where we were, we might be the people pitching someone who wants to be the next Tesla or the next Apple. So yeah, Biggie, we were like the hype man for the broker. Our job was to say, okay, look, I got a guy here. He's got something real hot he wants to tell you about. So look, give my man 60 seconds to tell you about this great opportunity, something great. But we had a script that we had to follow. And so it was like, they were like, no, follow this script. And it was kind of like, you'd have your opener, you'd have your kind of middle of the, your presentation to, like, okay, so it's like, my name is Don, calling from Acme Investment Banks. If you have the time, I'd like to, just get you on the phone with my senior broker and tell you about, a great opportunity we have going, blah blah blah. And then it was like, all right, if it stops there, then you're supposed to hit him with another another backup question to the backup, and it was supposed to be all of this different stuff. And like, there's a lot of stuff I remember about it, but then there's a lot of stuff that I don't remember. And studying for that Series 7, like, for those of you who do not know, there are 3 like major exams that are supposedly like the hardest exams to pass. But if you pass those exams, these are 3 spectacular careers that you're supposed to be able to get into. So you have the medical exam, right? You have the bar exam, and then you have the Series 7, which is what you need to be a licensed stockbroker or investment banker. Now, the funny thing about this was, they were like, look, you just got to pass the test. You don't have to worry about ever using any of the knowledge from the test. It's just like, the brokers there, they would tell me all these stories about how, like, they had these, giant thick books. They'd cram, study hard for like a month or 2 months or whatever. Go take the test. And the moment they found out they passed, they'd fucking take those books in their backyard and set them on fire. Or take them in, as they're riding home, they'd fucking dump them out the back window or something like that. But like, because they didn't have to do any of the actual like the mathematical calculations, because it's a lot of math. It's a lot of math because you got the puts and calls, and you got to know about long sales, short sales, and the whole thing of like the buy low, sell high, and et cetera, kind of stuff, or yeah, it's a lot of crazy shit, and it's like, as brokers, you don't need to know anything about that shit. The only thing you need to know is what the current price is, how to fucking mitigate any losses, how to pitch that work, get across across the strike zone. And that was the craziest thing, was seeing these dudes, because they would be calling, because I think we were allowed to call. All right, so if you were a licensed broker, I think you were allowed to call starting at 7 o'clock Eastern, but it also depended on the time zone. So like you couldn't be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning trying to pitch somebody on the West Coast because it would be 4 o'clock in the morning for them. So on the lead cards, it would have person's name, what company they work for or maybe owned, their position, supposedly the salary. I say supposedly because you never know. That's what they actually make. Um, and what city and state they lived in, along with their telephone number. I don't know. I don't think they had their addresses, but I know that they had at least the city and state. So this way, we come through and we know, like, okay, you can't call these cards now. You got to wait a couple hours or whatever. So we have 500 cards. They wanted us to get like a minimum of like 5 to 10 yeses. And mind you, this is just to say, yes, your senior guy can call me back. Uh, and it was kind of difficult because you had yeah, it was kind of difficult because you'd have numbers. Some of the numbers didn't work, so obviously you got to throw those away. A lot of them were not. A lot of them were offices, right? So you'd have the secretary or personal assistant or whatever may have you that you would have to try to get through to get to the person that you needed to speak to a lot of times. So there was that whole thing too, where you'd run into and mind you, we were supposed to call the people by their first name. So let's say this particular CEO was named Janice Craster. you know like they wanted us to be professional, so it was like, hey, hi, can I speak to Janice Craster, please? Yeah, who is this? Yeah, this is Don from Acme Investment Bank. Yeah, she's not interested. Take her off your list. Click. And mind you, they were always like adamant that like you got to get through the pitch. You got to get through the pitch, and it's kind of like we can't get through the pitch if they're not even giving us like 10 seconds. So you'd have dudes who would literally try to like hammer through the pitch in less than 30 seconds. So you're like, yeah, it's not a five. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like they sound like either like they're Bone Thugs and Harmony or like one of those dudes from the auctions. 555 sold. Yeah, on the phone trying to just get somebody to say yes. You can call me to talk about investments. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh man, oh man. Yeah, we've been going for almost 2 hours and 20 minutes. We got way deep into the woods. Talking about Craster, talking about the White Walkers, etc., etc. Um, yeah. Listen, I'm gonna get out of here. I got some stuff that I do need to take care of, and I am, yeah, yeah. I got some stuff I do need to take care of around the house because what it is. Anyway, look, I will be back next week. Next week. Sorry, who do I got for next week? I got all this stuff listed, I think. No, you know what? Next week is going to be Vargo Holt. I wonder who. I'm gonna have to find some picture of some random fucking barbarian looking dude to be the placeholder for Vargo Holt, the goat. Oh man, yeah. So that was another one. Look, as always, look, if there's anybody that you want to see, leave them down in the comments, or send me a message or whatever. And also shout out to, and let me make sure I can get this name right, because somebody pointed out to me, and I had absolutely no idea about this, and apparently nobody else had picked up on this either until somebody randomly picked up on it one day. That across the banner down below did not say subscribe. I was missing the second S, so it was like subscribe, and it's been like that for a while. Nobody noticed, not even me. So I want to give it I want to give this person a shout out for pointing it out, because you know what? Yeah, that was all right. So Terminator 1337, cool dude. Yeah, thank you for pointing out that I was totally illiterate when making that. Oh man. Yeah, man. Yeah. Anyway, look, I will catch you guys next week. Vargo Holt. Like I said, leave old stuff in the comments. Sooner or later, I guess there's some other type of videos. I'll be honest with you, work has been a little daunting as of late. Kind of sapped some of my energy. Taking a lot for me to even do this tonight, but trying to make sure to put out something once a week for you guys, so you know that I'm still here. Anyways, you guys already know the deal. Rate, comments, subscribe, not subscribe, share, tell your friends to come back for more. Oh man, thank you to everybody who came out live tonight. Thank you to all of you who will check me out in the future. Don't forget, if you want to see these videos do well, make sure to drop a like. It does help the channel grow, puts more eyes where they need to be. And yeah, you already know what the deal is. Look, like I said, see you next week. Vargo Holt. Yeah, and this is Don Willie saying, Bella Dohiris.